Hi guys, welcome back to the Unraveling the World podcast.
Before we get into today's episode, let's hear from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain it to you really quickly. To start off, it's 100% free, and there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more platforms. In fact, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. If you're interested, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
So in this week's episode, we are joined with Annie Jacob. So Annie, if you could just introduce yourself really quickly.
Yeah, sure. My name is Annie, and I am an actress, producer, filmmaker, artist, mac and cheese lover, human. I'm really good at introducing myself, if you guys have noticed. I'm a human. Hi.
Yeah. We're all human.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that you're into acting. Got you into acting?
Ooh, wow. Very long story, actually. Well, maybe it's not that long. So I can talk a lot, so you guys can just be like, okay, sure, this answer.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
You guys are so sweet. So I got into acting. Well, my parents are very artsy. I think that's just part of a very Indian culture thing, is that your children are in the arts, but also they're supposed to be the top students of every, class. So, we were kind of always thrown on stage singing and dancing mostly. I wasn't in a whole lot of plays and stuff like that. Like if I was in a play, I was always, the third angel from the right or the tree from the left, but my mom actually sent me to a talent boarding school in India, South India. It was like a British standard, but in India, talent school, and it was called Kalabhavan Academy. And there we were trained rigorously in the arts just as much as we were in our regular classes, which were, because it was British standard, it was very difficult actually. I was thrown into calculus at ninth grade. But there, they just saw me as a kid. I was seventh grade when my mom kind of took me out of a regular school and threw me into eighth grade in India, and they just saw me as this kid with a lot of energy and just wild, and they were like, we got to do something with her. So they threw me into plays and just threw me into the lead of plays, and I really saw how easy and how much I loved acting and performing and how it involved all the other things I love to do. And from then, I probably, when I turned 15, I was like, this is it, this is what I want to do for my life. And that's where the whole journey started.
Do you think because you started acting at such a young age and it's something that you love, do you think it can ever get stressful on you, since you're doing it as a career now?
I think that anything you do that you love is always going to create a tiny bit of anxiety and stress for you. Anything in life that you love, and I think it's just managing to grounding yourself and remembering why you're doing something, and know that there's always going to be a hurdle or an obstacle or something that's going to scare you in your journey, but hang on to why you love it and why you're doing it, and know that you are always supported in everything you do.
Yeah. So you mentioned how acting is such a big part of your life. So what's one of your favorite things about acting, and a perk that comes with it?
Ooh, man, so many. What I love about acting is we're telling great stories, right? So what I really love is, it's not about really, bringing me, myself, and I, but it's I get to play other people and kind of live in other people's shoes and explore other people's lives. And I think the best part about it is really bringing an experience out there and putting it out there that other people may not know because they haven't been able to walk that shoes, or they didn't know that like that story existed, or that person existed, or that kind of, you know, like kind of life existed somewhere else. And I feel so privileged when I do get to do that, where I get to go out and just like, here's something that you may not know, like look at this person's life, and I myself get to learn about it and explore it, and then that's like just really, really cool. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and when you act, you also get to sing and dance. That's always really cool.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite. I think like when you say like something that you love that brings you stress, I think singing is always more stressful to me. Like I remember being in schools and going to like state singing competitions or whatever, and I would win first place, but because I was so like annoyed with myself that I didn't do it as perfectly as I wanted, I would cry. Like everyone would be like, congratulations, and I'm sitting there crying like, right, thank you, but also I didn't do it as perfect as I should. Which is probably something I need to work on. But I just love, as an actress, you get to sing and dance with someone else. When you do it poorly, it's like whatever, that's that character's choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's also
So,
what I love.
Annie, what was your favorite role that you've played so far?
Ooh, gosh, it's hard. Every character has like something that's near and dear to, you know, me, and something that I don't usually get to explore, and everything brought out something really fun. There are characters that I don't like that I've played before, but those were very little and not important anyways. I don't know. I feel like there's a tie. I more so love the characters that I played in theater than I do on film. But film-wise and television-wise, I think it's a tie between the character I played in this movie called Saving Zoe. I was starring opposite of Laura Morano, who's a really great person, who actually also produced that along with her mom and her sister. This character, and also with Nisha and He's All That. And the reason why I love both of them is Abby, who I played in Saving Zoe. Saving Zoe is like this really dark story that's based on like, it's a very realistic story about like things that happen when people get exploited on the internet, and it's very dark, and it's really there's just some very complicated characters in that movie. And then my character is like this light in the movie, like she's just kind of clueless a little bit, but also just like trying to live her middle school dream of just having crushes on boys and like, trying to, date a guy. Meanwhile, everyone else around her is like in chaos and drugs and going through horrible stuff. And my character is just like, I'm so happy. So that was kind of cool. Like I was like the comedy relief, and I just loved doing that. And then Nisha, I love because the whole movie is a comedy in and of itself. I'm personally not a big rom-com person, but
really?
I shouldn't say, I know I shouldn't say that. I mean, a lot of people do love rom-coms. Yes, it's like funny, it's everyone's go-to. I love comedy. I'm more so comedy of where there's like action and like fighting, and I don't know, like if I had to choose between the two, I always go towards thriller, action, comedy, and then rom-com is like bottom of the list maybe. I sometimes even pick Lifetime movies over rom-coms. That I might have a problem, but I do love Nisha a lot because Nisha is this confident, sarcastic person who's very real, and she says exactly what she's thinking. And so for a person in a rom-com movie, she is the voice of people who like laugh at cheesy stuff, and she says what the audience might be thinking. And I love that about her.
She's like a blunt character.
Exactly. So that was a lot of fun to play, and like so much fun to improv with. I think that's one thing I liked more about He's All That character than Saving Zoe's is He's All That we had a little bit more time to shoot. He's All That was shot in 23 days. Saving Zoe shot in 15 days. And for He's All That, I had so much room to improv, and since it is a comedy movie, the other one is a drama, so we didn't like, it was actually the first time I had to say everything word for word verbatim. So I was just like, this is a little bit of a struggle, but I loved both characters. They're just lovable in different ways.
Yeah, I watched He's All That recently. I actually watched it like pretty soon, like right after it came out. And when I was watching the show, like I was like invested in the different characters, and then I saw Nisha. So then after I watched the movie, I like looked into like the cast and crew, and I was like super happy that there was like an Indian person like in the movie itself, because I feel like there's not like enough South Asian representation. So that was like really cool. So I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, we should totally get her on our platform.
That's so awesome. No, I love that. First of all, thank you for watching it. I appreciate that. I can maybe get some more residual checks. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, I feel very honored that I get to represent a South Asian person in a global movie, a globally shown movie, and honestly did not realize how big that was until a friend pointed out while I was filming. I am actually turning down most interviews, but whenever some South Asian cool kids like y'all are reaching out to do an interview, I'm like, heck yeah, of course. I'm totally down. So thanks for having me.
I feel like even especially in Hollywood, as much as I love Hollywood and rom-com movies, it's like, even though I love watching them, you like notice that there's not many people who look like me, for example. Like there's not a lot of people who look like me on television. And so like when Kavya was looking into that and she let us know that there was an Indian character played on the show, we were so excited. We were like hoping you'd reply back to us. And so we were so like, we were overjoyed when you did. And it's like so great having you on our platform today.
Well, I'm glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah, and now like talking to you, like I noticed that we actually have a lot of similarities. Like even you mentioned like how you like singing and dancing. I mean, I'm not like, I like singing, but I'm not that great at it. But I genuinely think I'm pretty good at dance. So
that's awesome.
I wanted to ask, like, what types of dance are you like interested in?
Ooh. I like that you said interested in and not what you usually do, because there is a difference. Man, I really love a lot of the Latin American dances, like salsa, bachata, all of those. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I really love hip hop a lot. That's a lot of fun to do. My mom had me grow up learning to do a lot of Bharatanatyam. I don't know if you guys have.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I do that.
I do hip hop and Bharatanatyam too.
Oh, like the fusion dancing?
No, like I do the dances like separately.
Oh. Okay, cool. No, both ways are cool. Both ways are cool. I really like it a lot. Like I probably like it more as an adult. Like I miss just going to big events, like big, we used to dance on huge stages and just do Bharatanatyam, and there's just, I don't know, it brings me a lot of nostalgia now when I see it. But when I was younger, I was like hip hop, at the boarding school that I was sent to, because there were so many different people from different parts of the world with different cultural backgrounds and different forms of dancing. We used to try to, like, we were forced to, learn to choreograph at like a really young age. And we would do a lot of fusion dancing, and we would incorporate hip hop and Bharatanatyam and just different kind of classical dances and folk. And so I think my favorite is like fusion dancing, where we just incorporate everything together. That's my favorite. Yeah. I also love the Macarena. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, but it's not a bad dance. Very easy.
Yeah, dancing is definitely like one of my favorite like go-to hobbies. It's like super relaxing, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I was also wondering if you really like dancing, I was also wondering if you had any other hobbies or stuff you do in your leisure.
Ooh, man, it varies. It's a lot. I mean, right? Because like we're human, we do so much. I really love to go for a good hike. But the older and lazier I'm getting, I feel like I more so just love to travel to some really great place and look at the places I could hike and then sit down and just relax. So I really, really love traveling and exploring like towns and like the people, like experiencing the culture, not as a tourist, but like with like the people. And I also really love I love jamming. Like I have so many friends who make music and who love to sing and play instruments. And that's also a big thing in my family. Like anytime we have a big family gathering, like my brother will bring out his guitar and, you know, everyone just loves to bring out their instruments and we jam. And when I travel, I think my favorite thing is when my friends and I would find street artists and we would just start singing and performing with them. And just like, you know, that's a big hobby of mine. And I'm trying to think, what else do I do? I love volunteering for certain groups. That's just something that I love to do. Or I used to work a lot through nonprofits and, you know, stuff like that. So people will still, who in those communities that knew me will still call me sometimes and just be like, hey, can you help us out with this? Or what do you think about this? And blah, blah, blah. And we throw events and that's a lot of fun. Reading, I love to read. Well, I don't know. I'm getting older and lazy, and so now I like to listen to stuff.
Audiobooks,
Audiobooks, podcasts, yeah. Hey, yeah. I don't know. I do a little bit of everything: drawing, painting. Love writing poetry for fun, just for me to read. Writing, all of it. Producing film, all of it.
That sounds amazing. I feel like it should be normalized. You don't need to like. Okay, for me at least, I love to sing and dance, but like I'm really, really bad at it. Like I never learned how to do that when I was younger. I never went to classes or anything. But like when I'm in the shower, I'll be like singing my lungs out, and it's so much fun. But I'm like really not good at it, so I feel like it should be normalized. But
it should be. Everybody has the ability to sing. You know what I mean? Everyone is at different levels.
I don't know if everyone like me, they're like good at it, but.
Hey, but you should.
It's fun, but
exactly. If you love it, do it. And you know what? The shower is the best place to sing. I'll tell you what. You know what I mean? The acoustics are amazing. You sound like Mariah. Everyone sounds like Mariah Carey in the shower. You know. And honestly, I used to write songs way more when I was younger, but it was always I would come up with the best songs in the shower. You know what I mean? That's the place to do it. So have a blast always.
I feel like it's always good to come back to like the things that you love, especially when, even though I'm like really young, I'm like still in high school, but it's really good to like come back and like relax yourself with the things that you enjoy doing when life can get like really stressful. So
1,000,000%. Yeah. It's a great way to bond and just, you know, good for your mental health in general. And self-growth, all of it, important, very much needed. Totally. Message of this today. Always sing and dance everywhere. I think and it also, you know, I really feel like, okay, so I used to do a lot of international work, and we would travel to different countries and do different mission work, or, you know, whatever, we could do art, whatever. And I feel like that there are two things that I found that bonded anyone and everyone in every country. Even if you couldn't speak the same language, everyone can speak the language of singing and dancing, like art. And then everyone can also, most countries can speak the language of football. I mean, soccer and American football and everywhere else. That's where everyone bonds. Those two things. And so I feel like those, like singing and dancing, also just builds community. That's another favorite thing of mine to do, is just to come into a big group of strangers and just start singing and dancing and see who joins. You know what I mean? That's the best.
I love that, because like I'm always too shy to do anything like that, but like I feel like that's so adorable. Like I feel like that's me and my sister sometimes, but we're too shy.
Oh, you know what? Like, it sometimes can be a little nerve-wracking, because I'm like, what am I doing? But it always takes, you know, that one crazy friend to do it. And then my good friends were always the shy people who would come and join me. And that's what makes it even more fun. So you just need to find your crazy buddy who would do that with you. and then it'll just be a good fun.
Yeah. So, Annie, you said that like you're involved in a lot of movies and you're like a producer. So, do you have any like goals in the future, something you want to accomplish?
Oh gosh, so many. I feel like, I feel like as time goes, I feel like goals are always changing, and like things you want to do, like the listing keeps just increasing. And I'm very much of like a go with the flow, whatever is happening in this journey, this crazy wild thing called life. I'm very much like, I kind of took a detour. Like, I think I told you guys at 15, I was like, I want to go and act. And this is what I'm going to do. But then I took like this big detour where, at the college where I was studying, acting and everything, they brought filmmakers who, travel the world and tell like documentary like stories of things that are happening in the world. And it kind of inspired me and pushed me to go and travel the world and work with different missions and bring art in that way and theater in that way. And then I don't know, the kids I was working with kind of reminded me that I wanted to do film and television, and and then I was like, right, I'm on this detour, like let me go back to this. But then I still, I feel like I'm going with the flow a lot, but I do have like a lot of end goals. Like for me, my main goal in the acting world or the film world is I just really want to have a good production company where my friends and I can all get together and just tell really great stories that we all love and have been bursting at the seams to tell. And like, to me, more so than winning an Oscar or winning awards, to me, like the greatest success is being able to make art with your friends and building that really great community where we have the ability to make great art, put it out there, and people love it, and people get to see it, and it like makes, it moves people. That to me is like end game, in the film and television world. Yeah, it's a very long answer for what my goals are. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. No, I always think that like in the film industry, it's really cool that you get to work with a lot of different people. So not just having the ability to work with your friends, but also meeting new people and getting to know more people as you advance in your career.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's like the more you meet people and like the whole journey that you're going through, you're just adding these people into that community, and it's really great. It's really great.
So that leads me to my question for like, who's someone that you worked with that's like been your all-time favorite like person that you've worked with, or like who has inspired you like to like further accomplish your goals or further advance in your career,
or even like someone that you hope to work with?
Ooh, these are all great. Wow, that's tough. There's so many great people that I feel like I've ran into and encountered who are just so inspiring. Gosh, this might take forever. Do you have a couple of days? No, I'm kidding. There is, I feel like even outside of the film and TV world, I meet people who just really inspire me, like communities I used to work with, like I used to work a lot with families that were relocated from refugee camps, and they were relocated to America, and we would talk a lot about art and future and dreams and chasing them. And I feel like they inspired me a lot to just really be true to myself, like staying true to myself while also getting out of my comfort zone and chase what could be difficult but very rewarding, so, and then I'm trying to, like, there's so many directors and producers who have just been inspiring and pushed me to, further my vision of, things that I want to do with the future. And I think I would say my friends that I work with in the industry as well, like my friends are always constantly reminding me how amazing of the opportunities I've had. Like my one friend, Kelly Quinlan, she's a big, she writes a lot of novels and a lot of books. And she also, like, you know, she's also a film writer as well, but she heard that I booked He's All That, right? And so she is big on writing books for young adults, like rom-com kind of movies. And so I'm just like, whatever, rom-com, you know? And she is like, do you know how big this is? And she was like, also, do you know that you just being an Indian American, how huge and powerful that is to the community? And I was like, oh, you're right. And then she was like, and your Instagram sucks. You need to work on your Instagram. And I was like, nah. And I was just like, I don't really care about Instagram. It's not about me. And she's like, it sucks promoting yourself, but just posting you on Instagram, there's going to be so many South Asian people who need that representation, and you just need to do it. And I was like, you're right. Like, I didn't even think about that. So just like, you know, different things, like seeing people, you know, a lot of my friends have started their own production companies, and that's been inspiring. I feel like I'm already going way too long. Like literally there's just so many people, and I need to narrow it down. How about I do this? One of the people I worked recently that I really have loved and am truly inspired by is Jamal Sims. He is a dance choreographer. Yeah. And he was a dance choreographer on He's All That for our dance-off scene. I am obsessed with him. Since I was a kid, I was just like, oh my God, Jamal Sims. And all of the dancers, like, there was this, so I was obsessed with the dances from Step Up. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard of Step Up. And he's a big choreographer from those movies. And the director, John Cho, I believe is how you say his name. He directed, I think, some of the Step Up. And then he also made this web series called The Legionary of Extraordinary Dancers. And I used to love watching those and all of the dances, and he choreographed a lot of these things, and even some commercials. I would be like, oh my God, I know that dancer. Oh my God, this thing, it was choreographed by this dancer. And then here I come, fast forward to 2020. Actually, the producer who produced these commercials that I loved is the same guy who produced She's All That and was now producing He's All That. And then, so of course, he brings Jamal Sims on. And when I say I have never fangirled, I'm not a fangirling kind of person. Like, I'm just like, oh, wow, I see you and everything you do, and you're great. But there are 2 times in my life that I have fangirled. One time is when I met this guy who said he owned this company that makes these cookies that I had just experienced the day before. And I was like, you made these cookies? Oh my God. And he was like, please keep your distance. Oh my goodness. But, and then there was Jamal Sims. And I was like, oh, I've been dreaming about working with you for like years, and I can't believe here I am, and blah, 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 and I'm out of shape. And he was like, okay, calm down, child. But, you know, he just really, like, that experience really inspired me to get back into like dance hardcore, get back into class, and just brought back my love for dancing a lot. So he's a great person. People I want to work with, actually director John Chu, because I used to love all of his web series and stuff like that. And Taika Waititi, I used to love watching Flight of the Conchords. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but that's a show, a New Zealand show, mostly directed by Taika Waititi, and all of the guys in that show were just hilarious. And he did Boy, he did What We Do in the Shadows. So now both of them are doing really well and very famous. So now it's like, okay, well, now everybody wants to work with them, whatever. But yeah, again, another long answer for a very short question.
Very great. It was very insightful. But like, drifting off a little bit, like these people in your life, they seem so important, like and like so inspiring. I feel like it's so important to like surround yourself with these people, or even, I mean, get the chance to meet them, not necessarily surround. But like, is there someone in specific in your family who's like kept you inspired or motivated throughout your career?
Oh my gosh, yes. I would say the person who's really, really pushed and motivated and really helped me out is my older brother, actually. My older brother, Jacob. He is also an actor. He was in the movie The Big Short. He's been on American Horror Story, the originals, I think it was. Wow, I'm a really horrible sister. I think it was actually The Vampire Diaries. Wow, I'm terrible.
Vampire Diaries.
Yes, it was Vampire Diaries, Big Short, a lot of things. But he's been a huge inspiration for me. He's always, encouraging me, supports me. He was actually the first person, like when I was doing theater and working with different communities in the theater world, and they kept on being like, the kids were like, well, why don't you keep telling us to pursue our dreams, like why didn't you ever you wanted to be a film actor and TV actor, why aren't you there, blah blah blah. And he was the one who actually paid for my first headshots and gave me the idea of like, well, Annie, like you're not making that much money doing all this nonprofit work, like why don't you go and like just take your headshots, go submit it to agencies, show them all your training and all your theater work, and see if an agent will sign you. And so the next day, got my headshots done. He gave me the names of different agencies around me, and next thing I know, every single agent responded and was like, yes, we want to meet you, or we want to sign you.
Oh my God.
Right? And then he had an audition set up because he had just turned to acting recently. He was more a musician. I was the actor growing up. He was a musician. Yeah. And then we help each other in both of our categories, which is funny. But he had a setup and he helped me tape a lot of my first few auditions. And we just kind of really push each other and support each other. And we introduce each other to each other as like communities and make music together. Probably one of my biggest supporters, I would say, in my family.
Yeah. And you're able to also pinpoint your career or like kind of decide what you're doing at the age of 15. So that's like, I'm turning 15 like next month, and that's like really scary to me because like I don't even know what I want to do or like what I want to pursue yet. But what advice would you give to other people who are interested in like the same field as you?
Oh man. Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. That's totally a joke. So, I mean, you don't have to know what your career is at 15. And honestly, the thing I learned about what I've learned in the past years is that what you love to do sometimes can change, and it can sometimes bring you in different outlets that you didn't think that you would love. Like some people can find that they love acting, and then they find that they love it more in theater, or they love it more in doing corporate film making for like commercials or for businesses, or or maybe they like film and television. But whatever it is, if you love it, keep doing it. Like even if you want to be a doctor but you love dancing, well, keep dancing. You know what I mean? Like all of it is so important and fruitful for your life. Whatever it is, keep building those little blocks. And if there's something that you find that you love more than the other, and you're like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, and this is what I want to be my career, then go all in for it. Just really train and build that support team, find that community and build, a good one that, you guys trust each other, you guys love spending time with each other, and just, we have so many tools at the tip of our hands now that we can just make art, from wherever we are, and just do it. Just basically, I'm Nike, just do it. But things are always going to be scary, and things are always going to be hard, but just remember why you do it, why you love it so much, and know that you have a good team around you that can help you.
Yeah, I think that's really important advice, and I especially like the part when you said that still continue to do the things that you like, because even though we all do grow up and eventually like graduate like college, if we want to go to college or like get a job, like it's still important we acknowledge or like still continue with our passions, because that won't like go anywhere. Like we can still continue to do that no matter how old we get.
Yeah, exactly. If you stop using the muscle, then it might get a little rusty. So always use the muscle. But yeah, like I do wish I had a better team growing up that kind of told me like, oh, cool, this is the route you should take. Like, do this, do that, save money here. Don't take out so many loans. So I would always say definitely speak to adults who know about, like, who are in that field, who can give you advice about like the financially wise way to do things. What are some great places for training in school? And like always talk to people who have done it. That's always an important thing. You learn so much from people who have already done so.
I feel like, yeah, it's so important to acknowledge, like, even like you previously said, like, it's so important to acknowledge, like, life does get hard sometimes, and it's like you have to like take a step back and like reevaluate everything, because you can get so lost with like media and everything. But it's always, it's, you can get so easily lost, because I'm so like young, and I'm like scrolling through like Instagram and stuff, and it's, you see Hollywood and everything, and it's so different than I feel like. I get the vibe, at least. That's so different than what it actually is behind the scenes. But, and so I feel like it's so important to like get on track and like be surround yourself with the important people that you care about, you know, to keep it sane. But,
it's so true. Like, I feel like the one thing that has been my saving grace in this career and helped me make a lot of the decisions I've made is just remembering why I do what I do. And staying true to who I am. Like I told you guys, like the kids that I used to work with, really pushed that and helped me make choices. Like, there are certain roles that I will not take. It doesn't matter how much money they're offering. I won't take it just because I feel like I need to stay true to who I am, number one, and two, I know that being a person of Indian descent, like, I am a representative of of the South Asian community, and I want to make sure we're not shown in a stereotypical light, or, you know, in the incorrect way. And then I'm, you know, really bringing those stories in the most true and authentic way. And luckily, my reps are really cool and understanding with that. Like, I've had to turn down so many big projects, and they'd be like, "Oh, cool, I respect that." It can be hard and it can be scary, because I know especially a lot of girls my age, like, I've been really lucky that I did have the detour that I did, because I feel like a lot of girls my age or in my group are always so scared, and they're like, we don't want to say no because we might get fired, or we don't want to do this, or people might drop me. And I've been so lucky that I'm just like, guys, it doesn't matter, be yourself. Like, I don't care if someone tries to fire me, but it is having the right team and having the right community, and it gives you the strength to stand up for yourself, like in this industry or any job, especially being a young female. Like, it's important to stand up for yourself, and it's so much easier when you know who you are and why you do something, and you know you have a good support team, you know?
I think that's really important. And to conclude our episode, I was wondering if there's something that you preach by, or something that you yourself to like if you're ever down, or, you know, if you ever are struggling, is there something you say to yourself to keep yourself motivated?
Ooh. Man, I don't know if there's one thing that I tell myself, but I always have to look back at my journey in a positive light. It's easy to look back at your journey and look at it in a negative light when you're feeling down, but I always have to remind myself to look back at it when I'm at my happiest, how I would look at it in my happiest moment, because then you look at it in the correct way of all the great things that you have accomplished and all the great people you have met, and how even the detours or the things that went wrong have brought you to a good spot, and how beauty always comes out of difficult times. And so I think that's the main thing I always have to remind myself, that I love what I do, and look back at where I've come from and what I've been through in a very positive light, and not to reflect at it in a negative light.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful, and that's like such a great way to end off our episode. I just wanted to say that it was so great talking to you, and you're such a down-to-earth person, and I felt like so comfortable talking to you. This is like by far my favorite episode to like record.
Shut up! What? I will take it.
Definitely.
Heck yes, that's been my goal this whole time. I was like, I don't care about anything. I just want to be their favorite episode of all time. Life made, I am okay. I could die tomorrow. I'd be happy. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for
taking your
coming.
time.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you so much. We wish all the best to your future and whatever you have in mind in the future as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I will take that with me forever. And good luck. Thank you for having this podcast. I think it's going to be really great. And I am excited for y'all's future as well.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
Much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.